those that like to get on YouTube. All right. Shayla! Hey, guys. Uncle Nathaniel. Greetings. Peaceful greetings. Peaceful greetings. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I'm running late today. Trying to post my little picture to update some of my emojis in the picture. I'm like, oh, shoot. I can't do stuff in the morning. The only thing I need to be doing in the morning is prepare and be here at least 5 minutes early before the video starts. So we start doing other stuff time, just get away from you. So forgive me. Forgive me, people. Okay, y'all. Type in my stuff. We in Isaiah family. Get yourself together. Jeremiah 13. Okay, y'all. Melvin, Jerry. Oh, 880. Yes. Guys, we're close to the 900-day mark. Trina, hey. That's why we. All right, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is July the 20th, 2021, day 211 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, another 3-year consecutive day count, day 880. That's why the Sabbath days or the feast day Sabbath days added into the count. Why? Because we rest as Yahuwah has commanded us to. It's the Sabbath. Sleep in. Like, don't do nothing today. Right? Christy, hey, girl, hey. Y'all, today we're reading Jeremiah 13, 14, and 15. Then we're going to pick up where we left off at yesterday in Fossilized Customs on page 247. Demi, shalom. Auntie, Belinda Brown, shalom, shalom. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get this started with the Shema, which is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. Everybody know by now, right? But it don't hurt to repeat it. Repetition is good. All right. Just find my... Oh, that's why I had to search. I added all these notes yesterday. That's why. Okay, y'all. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the Elohim of our fathers, has promised us, and the land flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one, not multiple gods, not multiple personalities, but he is one God, one and one alone, always has been, always will be. And you shall love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. All right, y'all. Let's minimize this. Hop on over here to Jeremiah chapter 13. All right, we're talking about Jeremiah's linen cloth. Okay. This is what Yahuwah said to me. Go and buy a linen loincloth, what he cover up his privates with, his man parts. Go and buy a linen loincloth and put it on, but do not wash it. So I bought the linen cloth as Yahuwah directed me, and I put it on. Then Yahuwah gave me another message. Take the linen loincloth you are wearing and go to the Euphrates River. Hide it there in a hole in the rocks. So I went and hid it by the Euphrates as Yahuwah had instructed me. Hold on. Oh, it jumped up. Hold on, all the way up the screen. Hold on. Okay, back to verse 6. A long time afterward, Yahuwah said to me, go back to the Euphrates and get the loincloth I told you to hide there. So I went to the Euphrates and dug it out of the hole where I had hidden it, but now it was rotting and falling apart. The loincloth was good for nothing. Then I received this message from Yahuwah. This is what Yahuwah says. This shows how I will rot away the pride of Judah and Jerusalem. These wicked people refuse to listen to me. They stubbornly follow their own desires and worship other gods. Therefore, they will become like this loincloth, good for nothing. As a loincloth clings to a man's waist, so I created, excuse me, hold on, already. Voice is cracking. Sorry, y'all. Okay, let's start it off. I'm sorry. Then I received this message from Yahuwah. We're on verse 8. Now verse 9. This is what Yahuwah says. This shows how I will rot away the pride of Judah and Jerusalem. These wicked people refuse to listen to me. They stubbornly follow their own desires and worship other gods. Therefore, they will become like this loincloth, good for nothing. As a loincloth or drawers or underwear, that's what he's talking about. If y'all don't get what a loin, although I explained to everybody here, no, but just in case we got somebody new that come in on a loin. What's a loincloth? Your drawers, right? As a loincloth clings to a man's waist, so I created Judah and Israel to cling to me, says Yahuwah. They were to be my people, my pride, my glory, and honor to my name, but they would not listen to me. So tell them, this is what Yahuwah, the God of Israel, says. May all your jars be filled with wine. And they will reply, of course, jars are made to be filled with wine. Then tell them, no, this is what Yahuwah means. I will fill everyone in this land with drunkenness, from the king sitting on David's throne to the priests and the prophets, right down to the common people of Jerusalem. I will smash them against each other, even parents against children, says Yahuwah. I will not let my pity or mercy or compassion keep me from destroying them. And I can imagine one of them probably said to y'all, so you just woke up and chose violence this morning, huh? You gonna smash us like wine jars? No, he didn't wake up and choose violence. Y'all been choosing violence from day one. And he just meeting your violence with his violence. A warning against pride. Listen and pay attention. Do not be arrogant, for Yahuwah has spoken. Give glory to Yahuwah your God before it is too late. Acknowledge him before he brings darkness upon you, causing you to stumble and fall on the darkening mountains. For then, when you look for light, you will only find terrible darkness and gloom. And if you refuse to listen, and if you still refuse to listen, I will weep alone because of your pride. My eyes will overflow with tears because Yahuwah's flock will be led away into exile. So notice how he always tell them, look, if you don't get it together, this is what I'm going to do, right? And he just constantly, just like we find ourselves doing with our children, didn't I tell you to stop? Keep on now. Look, if I get up off this chair, right? And then when it gets down to you just stop talking, and I kind of liken this to sinning the prophets, right? And sometimes when I done repeated myself enough, my husband don't really have to do that for real. Like he'll just look and they'll be like, and they'll be hopping up, running through the house. I got to repeat myself sometimes. If I raise my voice a little bit, they may jump up, right? But that the youngest man child of mine, who was named Isaiah, boy, he be trying my gangster. Yo, look. Wait a minute. Yeah, he's not as bad as Jeremiah. Jeremiah is 18 now. Jeremiah gave me a run for my money. Matter of fact, I just started implementing with Isaiah what I used to implement with Jeremiah when he was young, because Jeremiah was off the chain, right? Yo, look, I told y'all about the time where I thought my own child was demon possessed. I was scared to stay in the house with him and everything. I ain't closed my eyes around him. I'm like, I sleep with one eye open. Ain't no telling what Jeremiah gonna do. Right? I'm not kidding. I'm being real serious about this, right? Look. So, but I kind of liken it to the prophet. Sometimes I'm saying this because Yahuwah constantly is telling his people, listen, Follow the rules. Otherwise, I'm going to have to implement justice, right? Or implement discipline because you're not seen to be listening. His discipline is to guide us back to the right path, right? Angel Tube Shalom. You know, it's a whole bunch of other people talking about the vaccine, so I don't really talk about it a lot here. But what I tell you is, and I'll go back to my what I was just saying about the judgment. What I say is, get informed yourself, you know, and then you do what you feel is best. Now, I'll tell you what we do. We don't take vaccines at all. We used to, but even with some of the younger children, we stopped getting vaccines. Not because what anybody else was saying, or we started this way before COVID was a thing. This is years. I just educated myself on what vaccines are. I did a lot of medical research and just all the pros and cons of everything, how it affects you, different children I personally know that were fine before they started getting vaccines to when they drastically changed after vaccines. And so we made our choice that we would no longer put poison in our body. And that goes with everything, flu shots and everything. It wasn't just with the vaccine of COVID. We've been doing this for years, you know, so that's what me and my family does. What anybody else does is completely up to them. Some people say, oh, it's the market of beef, whatever. To each his own, whatever. But I would say do your own personal research. Own the information that you choose to own. Live your information, right? And that's what I tell people to do. All right, now going back to this. So with Jeremiah, when I'm talked out, because I really didn't want to whoop him for real, and I didn't want to whoop him because I was angry. So listen, stop it. Oh, this is going to happen. But he knew when I stopped talking, and I just started counting, not counting out loud like 1, 2, 3, silently counting where you can see my fingers, right? And he know when I got to 3, that was it. So you should never let it get to 3. Now, my girlfriend was the one that told me about this because of her kids. She was like, Pam, you might need to try this. So I'm just telling you what I need to do with, I ain't gonna say his name, with my son. I'm like, okay, I might need to try that. She said, now listen. She said, start it off. Don't just go to the fingers. She said, count out loud where they can hear you count, but get their attention. And while they hear you count, also use your fingers. She said, you got to marry your voice with your finger counting where they can see and hear. She said, now, I kid you not, and I'm only telling you from my experience, they may start counting with you. I'm like, what? Girl, they got up and smacked them down to the floor. She said, no, they got to get used to what you're about to do. I'm like, okay. But sure enough, with Jeremiah, like the first time he saw me, I was like, 1. I know. I said, listen, if I get to 3, I'm gonna get up and whoop your butt, right? So I was like, 1, 2, and he's sitting there looking like, because it's the first time. It's like, what? What do you mean? What? But he didn't just completely sit there. He was like, what? And he just kind of moved while I was counting. And then he was like, I said 3, and of course I was like, listen, it's the only time you get this warning because it's the first time I said I would not get to 3 again. Next time I'm gonna whip your butt if I have to say the number 3 or put my 3rd finger up. And so of course, not even a couple hours later, here I go. 1, then I hear him respond. 2, I'm like, little nigga. And I hopped up. I say, what I tell you? Listen, you don't count with me. You don't count with me. This is punishment for you. I'm about to whip your butt. I said, try it again if you want to. I said, get in there, get that stuff up. And so I had to think about what she was saying. She said, damn, calm down. I had to call. I said, girl, he started counting with me. She said, I told you. She said, listen, she said, next time it probably won't be like that. But she said, you got to stick to it. If you actually get to 3, whatever you said you was going to do when you get to 3, she said, you have to do it. Or he's just not going to believe you and this is not going to work. Look, so of course, it was the next day. He was just, the rest of the night he was fine. But the very next day, and when I tell you, Jeremiah tried my patience on a daily basis, 24/7, I mean that. Like, I mean that. Like, that was a child that literally gave me a run for my money. Like I said, he 18 now. When he started getting to like, He started calming down when he started getting like 12. Yeah, like 12. I'm like, oh my gosh, will this ever end? Shayla, the counting method still works like a charm. Look, the ancestors gave me that one and I use it faithfully. Look, I'm telling you. So I had to implement this same thing with Isaiah. But when I implemented with him, I rounded all four of them up, the youngest four, Joshua, Josiah, Isaiah, and Bella. I said, listen here. I said, I'm doing way too much talking to y'all, right? I said, listen, I'm going to just explain how this works. I ain't going to be doing this y'all no more. I'm like, oh, yes, especially in public, Shayla. Look, I'm not into the habit of constantly repeating myself with y'all. I said, and I sit back here and I watch y'all. Y'all daddy come down. Y'all hear him coming down the stairs. Y'all start running through here, straightening up, sitting down on the couch. I'm like, where's my respect? I said, so you know what? Y'all gonna start respecting me just like y'all respect y'all daddy. I said, but I'm gonna help y'all along the way, just in case you forget who you're dealing with. I said, now we're gonna implement, and I actually explained that to the four small ones. I said, we're gonna implement this little method. If you hear me counting out loud, know I also got my hands up. So you can look around and you can verify, oh, this is what she was talking about. One. I said, if you hear me or see me counting, you better know I'm serious. And if I get to 3, that's y'all tails. Right? So they was like, okay, now Josh is like the perfect child. Like you really only have to tell Josh something one time and he just, and if you ain't doing it, what did mama say? Or what did daddy say? If I go tell them, you in trouble, right? Josh like me, I ain't getting in trouble for y'all. I don't like pain. I'm just gonna do this right the first time. So I go about my business. That's Josh. Saya, he's a little more stubborn, right? And he gonna be like, well, why I gotta do it? I'm always the one that gotta do this. Isaiah, he's just like, so whatever. Y'all, I'm gonna go hide and I'm gonna let y'all do all this. Bella, she just gonna sit and whine for a little bit. I'm gonna just pick up my stuff, right? Look. Auntie, she said, see, I told you Josh was supposed to be mine. Yeah, he's like the perfect angel child. Like, I would say Elijah and Josh, they're almost like one and the same. They're like the perfect angel children. Oh, I can pair them up. Jeez. My oldest one and my third oldest one, like Elijah and Josh, then Jeremiah and Isaiah, the 2 terrorists, then Saya and Bella, they don't really pair up a lot. Saya is they got they own thing, right? Bella, she thinks she runs everything. She cool, but don't get on sis bad side, right? Because the whole house is going to know it. Like I wasn't used to, y'all know how girls scream and do like them screeching voices. I wasn't used to that. We had 5 boys before her. She comes in and changed the entire dynamic of the house. Even I am laid back. You never really hear me scream. This child, I'm like, listen, if you don't go in there and get your daughter, I said, why is she screaming like that? I had to call my sister. I'm like, did the girl scream like this? She said, girl, all the time. I'm like, look, we need to do something about this. Okay, but enough of that story. So it's like this. Yahuwah, he's constantly telling them, right? And so he's like, listen. So to me, when I read this, it's like, yep, you're doing that finger count method with them, right? So I kind of liken it to how I discipline our children. And we did have to kick the 2 oldest out. Like we did go as far as kicking them out, right? Because they start smelling themselves. You don't want to follow the rules of our house. Okay, let's see how you like it outside. Of course, my husband kicks them out. I'm like, oh shoot, where they gonna go? And so I'm calling my sister. I'm like, look, girl, listen, I need you to work with us. And James just put Elijah out. Can you drive? Man, she got to drive like an hour to get to me. I said, couldn't take nothing with him out the house. Now, I agree. Elijah smelling himself, right? You want to smoke weed in our cars and try and air it out like we don't know what weed smell like, right? Like we never smelled weed and all this little stuff. Then you lie to us to our face, bruh. No, you're not gonna dishonor our house and our stuff that we let you use belongs to us. And then come back and lie to our face about, no, I didn't do that. No. We know what marijuana smell like, right? So, but anyway, I called Alicia. Here, Alicia come driving from Newport News to pick up Elijah. Hey, girl, hey. Remember when James kicked Elijah out? I called her. I was like, can you please come get him? I said, because I don't know if it's crazies out here. And it was kind of, it wasn't that cold, but it was kind of a cool night, if I remember correctly. He said, oh, you want to be grown? He said, get out of our house. And you can't take nothing we gave you. We'll let you keep on what you got on your back. Matter of fact, no, give me that shirt. So I think Elijah had on a wife beater and some shorts and his socks and tennis shoes and his drawers. We weren't gonna set him out there naked, but we needed to prove a point. Now, I may not have necessarily at that point put him outside the house, right? I don't necessarily disagree with smoking marijuana. Smoking the marijuana wasn't the issue. It was the lying about the smoking the marijuana. Like we were dumb, like we didn't know what marijuana smelled like, right? Not that we say, oh, our kids can smoke. Get what I'm saying, y'all. It wasn't the fact about the marijuana. It was the whole lying and doing it in our vehicle and stuff, right? So she did. She came and she picked him up. I said, girl, about this, because he took his cell phone, everything. So he wouldn't have been able to contact nobody. But what I think he did, if I remember correctly, he had walked a couple blocks to the McDonald's, and somebody inside of McDonald's let them use their cell phone. And I think he had called Leisha, if I remember correctly, but I had already called Leisha, so she was on her way anyway. So when they came back, when she got here, Leisha came back, kind of circled the neighborhood, and she called my set. It was Walgreens. Okay, not McDonald's. It was Walgreens. Okay. My sister up here, she said it was Walgreens. And so she said, girl, is it okay if we come to the house and you bring me some clothes? I said, Leisha, I wish I could. I said, but James just kicked him out. I said, and I can't bring no clothes out the house. He just gonna have to make do with what he got on. But I don't remember. Did I bring anything out? I was like, yeah, no, he can't have anything, But I think I may have taken his wallet out there, but nothing else. Because we was trying to prove a point, right? And it ain't like we were kicking him out forever. It's just like, we need you to understand the rules of this house. And if you're going to live here, you got to abide by these rules. You can't do whatever you want to do. If you want to smoke weed in your vehicles, then you move out, you get your own vehicle, pay your own insurance and car note, and you can smoke weed in your vehicle all day long. But if you're going to live in our house and we let you use our stuff, this is what we require of you. Keep it clean. Put gas in it. Don't smoke cigarettes nor marijuana in our vehicle. We won't let you do it in the house. Don't smoke cigarettes in the house. Nobody. My husband never even ever smoked in the house, right? So it was like, we keep to these rules ourselves. So you also keep to them, right? So it's the same thing. And so that's why I really like reading through a lot of these Bible stories, because before it wasn't. When I start having multiple kids, I'm like, yo, I know what you're talking about. They be acting a fool, right? So that's why I take such joy in reading this and sharing the stories along with it, because I feel it. Maybe if your kids haven't gotten that old, they still kind of young, unless you have terrors while they're young. You can't really relate for real, right? But I can relate all day long. So when it get back to the counting, so with Isaiah, and he's really the only one I had to implement this with, right? Like, by the time I get to 3, because when I did it, all the kids was around. I said 1. I only had to count out loud one time. I had to even use it last night with him, because he was playing around with Bella, put her in a chokehold while we're sitting watching a movie last night. I'm like, get on the floor. Get on the floor. But Ma, I said, get on the floor. I said, excuse me. He said, but it was her. I said, and he looked at me, he like, really? I said, and he just hopped up off the bed like, oh, shoot, Bella, you make me sick. You should get on the floor too. Got me kicked off the bed. So it works really well. Joy, shalom, says shalom. Okay, so let's go back to this. Look, okay. Let's go back to 15. A warning against pride. Like, right. And so he's telling you now, I done already told you, I done talked enough using the fingers together. Now I'm just going to use the count, and I ain't going to say nothing else. And like the actual counting with Yahuwah, he said, this is the counting. He said, when you see them coming, you just know it's all over. Listen and pay attention. Do not be arrogant, for Yahuwah has spoken. Give glory to Yahuwah your God before it is too late. Number 2. Finger 2. Acknowledge him before he brings darkness upon you. causing you to stumble and fall on the darkening mountains. For then, when you look for light, you will only find terrible darkness and gloom. And if you still refuse to listen, I will weep alone because of your pride. My eyes will overflow with tears because Yahuwah's flock will be led away into exile. Say to the king and his mother, come down from your thrones and sit in the dust, for your glorious crowns will soon be snatched from your heads, right? Yep, you are out the door at this point, snatching everything. Look, say to the king and his mother, come down from your thrones and sit in the dust, for your glorious crowns will soon be snatched from your heads. The towns of the Negev will close their gates, and no one will be able to open them. The people of Judah will be taken away as captives. All will be carried into exile. Open up your eyes and see the armies marching down from the north. Where is your flock, your beautiful flock that he gave you to care for? What will you say when Yahuwah takes the allies you have cultivated and appoints them as your rulers? Pangs of anguish will grip you like those of a woman in labor. You may ask yourself, why is all of this happening to me? It is because of your many sins. That is why you have been stripped and raped by invading armies. Can an Ethiopian change the color of his skin? Can a leopard take away its spots? Neither can you start doing good, for you have always done evil. I will scatter you like chaff that is blown away by the desert winds. This is your allotment, the portion I have assigned to you, says Yahuwah. For you have forgotten me, putting your trust in false gods. I myself will strip you and expose you to shame. I have seen your adultery and lust, and your disgusting idol worship out in the fields and on the hills. What sorrow awaits you, Jerusalem? How long before you are pure? Next chapter, Jeremiah chapter 14. Judah's terrible drought. This message came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah, explaining why he was holding back the rain. Judah wilts. Commerce at the city gates grinds to a halt. All the people sit on the ground in mourning, and a great city cry rises from Jerusalem. The nobles send servants to get water, but all the wells are dry. The servants return with empty pitchers, confused and desperate, covering their heads in grief. The ground is parched and cracked for lack of rain. The farmers are deeply troubled. They too cover their heads. Even the doe abandons her newborn fawn because there is no grass in the field. The wild donkeys stand on the bare hills, panting like thirsty jackals. They strain their eyes looking for grass, but there is none to be found. The people say, our wickedness has caught up with us, Yahuwah, but help us for the sake of your own reputation. We have turned away from you and sinned against you again and again. O hope of Israel, our Savior in times of trouble, why are you like a stranger to us? Why are you like a traveler passing through the land, stopping only for the night? Are you also confused? Is our champion helpless to save us? You are right here among us, Yah. We are known as your people. Please don't abandon us now. So now you want to try and kind of get it together. Now that I have kicked you out, forgive me. I'm sorry. I want to come back home, right? No, let's see how you like it out there in the fields of your masters in the pig slop, right? Then you're going to see how good you really had it here, right? So this is what Yahuwah says to his people. You love to wander far from me and do not restrain yourselves. Therefore, I will no longer accept you as my people. Now I will remember all your wickedness and will punish you for your sins. Yahuwah forbids Jeremiah to intercede. Remember, look, he about to tell him again, stop praying for him. I ain't even listening no more. Like, look, at the point where my husband kicked Eli, I was about to say Jeremiah. We ain't even got to Jeremiah yet, but Jeremiah and my nephew, my other sister online, everybody. It had look, Yahuwah say the same, just like Yahuwah. If we adopt you into the family, like you already family because you're our nephew, but when you come into this household, we treat you like you are our very own son. We even call you son, right? And if you get in here and pull some foolishness too, I ain't gonna get a whole story. He get in here, pulls foolishness too, and you got to go out too. He found himself kick it from the house too. He's also been kicked out, right? Listen, and at that point, once you get kicked out, there's only so much I can say. Yep, we done gave you multiple times. I cannot. I'm not. You talk. I ain't said I'm not interceding for you no more. I already know because it's gonna bring trouble between me and him. He didn't know they are not to come back. And while I'm gone, you better not let them sneak in here and get no clothes. Like he didn't already gave me the rundown. Like you what? No. Because I have specific instructions not to do this. I knew you was gonna call. I was like, you're not having me endanger my head to the king. I'm telling my own son this. Look, I'm not endangering my head to your father for you. We didn't give you multiple chances, and we done told you multiple times that you cannot do this. You're not going to do this, and if you sneak and do this, this is what's going to happen, right? Goodbye, son. I love you. You need to take this up with your father. I love you. Be safe, okay? But of course, we still check on him. We watch him from afar, just like Yahuwah did. Like because he said, look, everybody, these were the instructions that I gave to them. Yeah, I kicked you out. And I told them, put you to hard labor. You go to hard labor. But we know there were some things that they went over and above with, right? They did some things that were not authorized by me. He said, and I am going to deal with them personally for that, right? So it's the same type of thing. It's even when he kicked us out, although he's watching, he's not responding, right? And he said he wasn't going to respond. You call all day long, but he's not going to respond because you had enough time to get all this together while you were here. Now he's just going to watch. Not that it doesn't break his heart, but he's really trying to prove a point. Like you thought you knew better. Now do all that crying to the ones that you were loving in my house. Let's see if they help you, right? And I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to watch, right? But he also said he's not going to let this go on forever, right? And he will, at a certain point down the road, let us come back home, right? Okay. But at that time, we would be then had our fill of all of what he said would happen. And those who we thought were our lovers, whom we were committing idolatry and adultery with, we see that they didn't love us back as much. We thought the grass was greener on the other side, but we found out that it really wasn't. And when we got into trouble, they did nothing to help us, right? Look. Then Yahuwah said to me, do not pray for these people anymore. When they fast, I will pay no attention. When they present their burnt offerings and grain offerings to me, I will not accept them. Instead, I will devour them with war, famine, and disease. Then I said, O sovereign Lord, their prophets are telling them all is well. No war or famine will come. Yahuwah will surely send you peace. Then Yahuwah said, these prophets are telling lies in my name. I did not send them or tell them to speak. I did not give them any messages. They prophesy of visions and revelations they have never seen or heard. They speak foolishness made up in their own lying hearts. Therefore, this is what Yahuwah says. I will punish these lying prophets, for they have spoken in my name, even though I never sent them. Y'all think that's still happening today? It surely is. And it's a bunch of them on YouTube, not just on YouTube. They will prophesying lies in Yahuwah's name. Things they've never seen before from Yahuwah. Things they've never heard before from Yahuwah. And some of them are actually lying on Yahuwah, saying that they spoke to him. Yahuwah said, I ain't speaking nothing to them, right? Some of them I know for certain. Hey, they sound convinced, and I had to go check. I'm like, wait, something that's important. You would have said something to me, right? Did I tell you that? No. Well, you ain't got to worry about it, do you? Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to unsubscribe to them because they doing a lot of this. They almost got me with their scared tactics, and they sound so convincing. And I had not unsubscribed to a lot of them who said, I didn't tell you that. And I know I heard from y'all, right? Okay. So, and also a lot of time people, because I'm also a dreamer, but I know how dreams work, right? Your dreams can be infiltrated. If you are, if there is something that you are super infatuated with, it can begin to taint your dreams. It really can. And that's why you have to test everything, even your very own dreams, even dreams that you think you may have from Yah. They have to be tested, right? And there is a way to do that. Like everything that Yahuwah tells, I keep repeating this because it's so true. Everything. Otherwise, you can be led away with dreams. You can be led away with visions. Yahuwah specifically even talks about this in Deuteronomy chapter 13 and Deuteronomy chapter 13 and 18. Yeah, I think it's Deuteronomy 13 and Deuteronomy 18. It's talking about dreamers of dreams and lying prophets. And even if the dreams come true, or even if the prophecies come true, Yahuwah said, do not believe them or do not go with them. He said, because I am testing you to see if you will obey me. And a lot of time we're seeing that a lot of people is not obeying Yah. They're obeying this dream or this prophecy that has come to pass, that this person has given and shared with people. I'm telling you, you test it. What does Yah say? What do we know that Yah has said from his own lips? Does it line up with that? Yahuwah said, I don't care if it did come to pass. I don't care if it did happen. That's what people miss. Yahuwah said, I don't care if what they prophesied came to pass. I don't care if their dream came true. What did I say? And if their dream or their vision conflicts with what Yahuwah has said, or the basis of Yahuwah's character and what we know, or how we know he operates, if it goes against that, there is a problem. And we should step back. Sure, it came to pass, but I'm going to step back on this because and that's how I keep myself safe. I don't know about y'all, but I'm just telling you, go back and read Deuteronomy chapter 13 and Deuteronomy chapter 18. And you will see Yahuwah is very, very specific about that. Because those that don't follow that, that's how they led away with these prophets prophesying and prophesying, and some of these dreamers of dreams and giving visions and stuff, right? It's a mess. Listen. Verse 14. Then Yahuwah said, these prophets are telling lies in my name. I did not send them or tell them to speak. I did not give them any messages. They prophesy of visions and revelations they have never seen or heard. They speak foolishness made up in their own lying hearts. Therefore, this is what Yahuwah says. I will punish these lying prophets, for they have spoken in my name, even though I never sent them. They say that no war or famine will come, but they themselves will die by war and famine. As for the people to whom they prophesy, their bodies will be thrown out into the streets in Jerusalem, victims of famine and war. There will be none left to bury them. Husbands, wives, sons, and daughters, all will be gone. For I will pour out their own wickedness on them. Now, Jeremiah, say this to them. Night and day, my eyes overflow with tears. I cannot stop weeping for my virgin daughter. My precious people has been struck down and lies mortally wounded. If I go out into the fields, I see the bodies of people slaughtered by the enemy. If I walk by the city streets, I see people who have died of starvation. The prophets and priests continue with their work, but they don't know what they're doing. A prayer for healing. Yahuwah, have you completely rejected Judah? Do you really hate Jerusalem? Why have you wounded us past all hope of healing? We hoped for peace, but no peace came. We hoped for a time of healing, but only found terror. Yahuwah, we confess our wickedness and that of our ancestors too. We all have sinned against you. For the sake of your reputation, Yahuwah, do not abandon us. Do not disgrace your own glorious throne. Please remember us and do not break your covenant with us. Can any of these worthless foreign gods send us rain? Does it fall from the sky by itself? No, you are the one, O Yahuwah, our God. Only you can do such things. So we will wait for you to help us. Last chapter for today, Jeremiah chapter 15. Judah's inevitable doom. Then Yahuwah said to me, look, we coming upon it right now. I forgot it was here. So remember how y'all always hear me keep repeating about the righteous dying for the wicked, right? And Yahuwah says it. I didn't give y'all the scriptures, but here is another example of it, right? And he gives it a few times. Y'all heard me say that Yahuwah said that even if Noah would intercede for his sons, right? Only Noah would be saved if his sons didn't turn from their wickedness, right? He said the righteous will never die for the wicked. Neither will I ever send a righteous person to die for the sins of the wicked. If we never read the books of the prophets, we never hear you who was saying this. And we would never be alerted when we get to the New Testament and we see the exact opposite of what Yahuwah said. It doesn't wake us up and we continue being asleep in everything, right? So listen. Judah's inevitable doom. Jeremiah chapter 15. Highlight this, y'all. Then Yahuwah said to me, even if Moses and Samuel, and when we think about Moses and we think about Samuel, what do we think about? These were righteous men. These were your servants, right? Who never turned from you. They may have made a mistake, but you called them righteous. Listen. Then Yahuwah said to me, even if Moses and Samuel stood before me pleading for these people, I wouldn't help them. Away with them. Get out of my sight. And if they say to you, but where can we go? Tell them this is what Yahuwah says. Those who are destined for death, to death. They ask them, well, where we going to go? Out of here? And those who are destined for death, to death. Those who are destined for war, if you head into war, you go to war. Those who are destined for war, to war. Those who are destined for famine, to famine. Those who are destined for captivity, to captivity you go. That's where you're going. I will send 4 kinds of destroyers against them, says Yahuwah. I will send the sword to kill, the dogs to drag away, the vultures to devour, and the wild animals to finish up what is left. Because of the wicked things Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, did in Jerusalem, I will make my people an object of horror to all the kingdoms of the earth. And so also these last 2 paragraphs, verse 2 and verse 3 are the same thing. He just kind of gave examples of the 4 things. So the sword, the dogs, the vultures, and the wild animals is representation for the different things: death, war, famine, and captivity. If you didn't get that, I'll read it again. These are the 4 things that he said he was going to send against his people: death, war, famine, and captivity. Clearly, those that are under the sound of my voice today, clearly we know that we descend from the ones who were destined for captivity, right? And there are some that died. The other 3 died out, right? Death, war, and famine. Although there are a lot of us who have died in captivity, some of us are still alive, right? Those alive this day are clearly the ones who have and some may have survived the war, right? But still, you in captivity if you survived the war. Shalom, family. Ali, shalom. And y'all probably never heard me say shalom, but I just think it's fun to say. Okay. And if they say to you, but where can we go? Tell them this is what Yahuwah says. Those who are destined for death, to death. Those who are destined for war, to war. Those who are destined for famine, to famine. Those who are destined for captivity, to captivity. I will send 4 kinds of destroyers against them, says Yahuwah. I will send the sword to kill, the dogs to drag away, the vultures to devour, and the wild animals to finish up what is left. Because of the wicked things Manasseh, son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, did in Jerusalem, I will make my people an object of horror to all the kingdoms of the earth. Remember, he always came down hard on the kings. Why? Because the kings will lead the entire nation astray. So he called out Manasseh, right? You caused your entire nation to go astray, king, right? Son of Hezekiah, king of Judah. Who will feel sorry for you, Jerusalem? Who will weep for you? Who will even bother to ask how you are? You have abandoned me and turned your back on me, says Yahuwah. Therefore, I will raise my fist to destroy you. I'm tired. Look, I am tired of always giving you another chance. Out the door you go. Right? Therefore, I will raise my fist to destroy you. I am tired of always giving you another chance. I will winnow you like grain at the gates of your cities and take away the children you hold dear. I will destroy my own people. It's going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. I will destroy my own people because they refuse to change their evil ways. There will be more widows than the grains of sand on the seashore. At noontime, I will bring a disaster against the mothers of young men. I will cause anguish and terror to suddenly come upon them. The mother of seven the mother of seven grows faint and grasps for breath. Her son has gone down while it is still day. She sits childless now, disgraced and humiliated, and I will hand over those who are left to be killed by the enemy. I, Yahuwah, have spoken. Jeremiah's complaint. Then I said, what sorrow is mine, my mother? Oh, that I had died at birth. I am hated everywhere I go. I am neither a lender who threatens to foreclose, nor a borrower who refuses to pay, yet they all curse me. Yahuwah replied, I will take care of you, Jeremiah. Your enemies will ask you to plead on their behalf in times of trouble and distress. Can a man break a bar of iron from the north or a bar of bronze? At no cost to them, I will hand over your wealth and treasures as plunder to your enemies. For sin runs rampant in your land. And notice how Yahuwah said, Jeremiah, I'm going to take care of you, because those who actually kept to the commands, they listened, and Yahuwah actually took care of them. So there were some who didn't go into captivity, right? Because he warned them. He said, listen, when you see this, y'all better get to running. Flee to the hills or y'all going to be caught away in it. Flee Babylon, people, right? He's saying you got to go. Otherwise, if you let them talk sweet nothings in your ear, ain't nobody coming. Jeremiah always running off at the mouth. How long he been telling us this? We are saved. We are saved. We are saved. Those that paid attention to the signs, oh shoot, we out of here. Let's go. Right? Look. But those who actually listened, they were taken care of. Although they were secluded and they were hidden, they were taken care of, right? Yahuwah replied, I will take care of you, Jeremiah. Your enemies will ask you to plead on their behalf. We can see that even today. People that get in trouble or they done something foolish, the first person they go to call, if they have any kind of honor towards Yah at all, they'll be like, Father, forgive me. Oh Lord, I'm going to hell. And they'll find somebody. People not crazy. People know people whom they have an idea whom they think are on good terms with Yah. And they'll go to them, can you pray for me? Look, they won't go talk to nobody. They can be acting all crazy, but let something happen. They gonna call that person they know how to pray, or their grandmother that they know is close with the Most High. They gonna call grandma. They gonna call Big Mama. They gonna call Auntie. They gonna call Medea. They can call who they know knows Yah, and that Yah knows them. Right? Not that they couldn't directly go, but people have this they feel like, oh, I've sinned so much, he's not going to listen to me. Well, he actually would. Like, you don't really have to go through anybody. You can just truly be sorry and repentant and just go right to him. Like, I know we're not on the best of terms right now, and I know it's all because of me, but it seems like I just can't get this right. I need your help. I'm sorry, right? Okay. Y'all get it. Then Yahuwah replied, I will take care of you, Jeremiah. Your enemies will ask you to plead on their behalf in times of trouble and distress. Can a man break a bar of iron from the north or a bar of bronze? At no cost to them, I will hand over your wealth and treasures as plunder to your enemies, for sin runs rampant in your land. I will tell your enemies to take you as captives to a foreign land, for my anger blazes like a fire that will burn forever. Then I said, Yahuwah, you know what's happening to me. Please step in and help me, Punish my persecutors. Please give me time. Don't let me die young. It's for your sake that I'm suffering. And he's not talking about enemy, like literal enemies. He's literally talking about his family, right? His own brothers and sisters. He's talking about Judah, Jerusalem, his very own blood-born people, right? That's who's persecuting him. Please give me time. Don't let me die young. It's for your sake that I'm suffering, right? I'm telling them the truth, but they're persecuting me because I'm just passing the message. They getting mad with me. Why didn't they get mad with you? It's for your sake that I'm suffering. When I discovered your words, I devoured them. They are my joy and my heart's delight, for I bear your name. Oh, Yah, God of heaven's armies. I never joined the people in their merry feast. I sat alone because your hand was on me. I was filled with indignation at their sins. Why then does my suffering continue? Why is my wound so incurable? Your help seems as uncertain as a seasonal brook, like a spring that has gone dry. He said this to y'all. This is how Yahuwah responds. If you return to me, I will restore you so you can continue to serve me. If you speak good words rather than worthless ones, you will be my spokesperson. You must influence them. Do not let them influence you. They will fight against you like an attacking army, but I will make you as secure as a fortified wall of bronze. They will not conquer you, for I am with you to protect and rescue you. I, Yahuwah, have spoken. Yes, I will certainly keep you safe from these wicked men. I will rescue you from their cruel hands. And that is our reading for today. And if you don't know, Yahuwah absolutely kept his word to Jeremiah. Although Jeremiah went into captivity with them and he died in captivity, the prophet Jeremiah died at a ripe old age, right? Even every time they tried to kill him, they dropped him down in the system, everything. Jeremiah was always saved, right? Jeremiah was always rescued. Yahuwah always sent somebody to pull Jeremiah out of whatever they had wrapped him up in to literally destroy him and to kill him, right? All right, y'all. So I really love the reading for today. Let's go ahead and over here to Fossilized Customs, page 247. Where we at? We at 52 minutes. Oh my gosh, I'll be running my mouth. Look, but I like to share the stories with y'all. Okay, so yesterday we left off on he was given different reasons, right? The list of reasons why those who only calculate time and the days by only the moon, why these reasons are wrong, right? So we talked about it enough for everybody to know that you can't just use the moon. We clearly know that just using the moon is wrong because you may get some things right, but you're going to miscalculate others if your only source for keeping time across the earth is only the moon. You must use the sun, moon, and the stars. Anybody download that Night Sky app? Oh, yo, look, I wish I had a regular not wind up like an analog clock, but you know, it's cool, y'all. Look, even because I told y'all how our clocks, our watches, clocks or watches or whatever, all it is a representation of those who know how to calculate time in the sky, right? So even if you use like a regular analog clock with the numbers with 12 at the top and a 6 at the bottom, and it goes around, you can actually take that and put it up in the sky, and it just, you got to use your imagination because clearly you're not going to see the zodiac in the sky, but they use that they use the zodiac, so the constellations. Don't get sidetracked and be like, oh, cutting her off, talking about astrology. No, I'm trying to show you what they did. And so when you're looking at, they say the moon is in Aquarius or whatever. If you hear that and you hear a couple other things, but if you know how the zodiac or whatever, how the signs are in the sky, you can put a clock up there, a number, digital clock or analog or whatever. Like I'm talking about the regular clock with the long hand and the short hand. It's based off of that, or where the clock is based off the clock in the sky, right? And you can look at it and you will see how in each number 12, 1, 2, 3, all the way around. All of those numbers actually have a zodiac sign of Aries, Leo, Gemini, all of this stuff. So when you hear this, I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, right. So remember, when you're learning this stuff, you have to separate the truth from the error, right? And they get a lot of spooky church people off because they married some truth and giving names to sections in the sky, where really the sections in the sky will pinpoint different stars that are fixed in the firmament. Yo, if you download the Night Sky app, you'll see what I'm talking about, right? And so if you get that and you look at it, it will blow your mind. And we have, remember I say, use technology for its strength, right? You may have not have learned it from the back way up to the digital age. We kind of have to kind of learn it from like the digital age on back to see what they learn, right? So that's where taking technology and using it for its strength comes in, that so it can teach you the position of the star. So if you ever was stranded somewhere, didn't have a watch, or you got Apple Watch, you got Apple phone, you ain't got no charge, and everything died on you. If everything died on you and you were stranded, or you running away from a kidnapper or something like that, right? You can learn how to call out your position. If you actually get some help or something, if somebody get a charge, you get a payphone, you just happen to have a quarter in your pocket. Hey, I'm here. You will, it'll take a little while, but as you begin to learn it, y'all, it is so friggin' exciting. So when I see this now, I was like, y'all ain't talking about horoscopes, although they've married horoscopes with it. And that's cool for those that actually get into the whole horoscope portion, right? But I look at it simply for time telling and positioning. Like, I couldn't even tell, like, I hear people talking about like the Big Dipper and stuff like that. I'm like, well, wait, how do you know? First of all, what does it look like? But if you're familiar with the clock in the sky, or with, if you actually taken the zodiac or the astrology symbols and stuff, and you look at it, you just got to do it a couple days until you get familiar with it, and you will see certain stars are always in Aquarius. So they have, okay, those are the signs. Then you have houses. So technically the houses would be, I'm still learning about that. They have like the signs, then they have the houses, and the signs are within the houses. Or let me make sure, y'all, like I said, I'm still kind of learning this. Okay, so I wish I had a friggin' clock. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, hold on. Let me try and draw one. Okay, let's use this one. This is back in April. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. Wow, it's gonna be crazy. So hold on. Okay, so 12, 6, 3, 9, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11. Okay. So y'all see this, right? Okay. It's called Night Sky. NIGHT Sky. SKY says Joy. That's what it's called. Okay. So when you look at it, and what they do, they begin to cut it up like a pie, right? Okay, so let's cut it up like a pie so you can see. Hold on. Did I do that right? 1. Oh, it's supposed to go 1 to 8. Oh, I just screwed that up already, y'all. But anyway, you don't do that. But anyway, it's like a pizza pie. You evenly divide up the houses. Y'all get it, right? I didn't just screw it up. It's probably messing up, but you cut it up like a pie, like you would evenly across, right? Take a pizza cutter, and then you'll see within each one, you have there's a section where the 1 is, and then there's a section that's divided, and that's the 2. Then you have this section right here, and that's the 3. So these are called, in between each number, those are the houses. And like your sign or whatever falls within the houses, but within these houses, if you take it and put it up in the sky and look at it, you put it against the sky, right? You can see the moon and the sun as it rotates across, but you'll always see the sun and the moon will rotate around, right? But the stars will stay fixed inside of certain houses. So if you ever heard somebody say, okay, the sun is in Aquarius, okay, if you remember where Aquarius is located, you can find it, whatever constellation, whatever star you're looking for. If you can remember, just picture the clock, Imagine it in the sky. Aquarius is here. Boom, you found the fixed star in the firmament. Guys, it's so freaking amazing. At least I think it's amazing because it helps me learn the constellation in the sky. And when they use, look, they even use the planets too, right? Like Venus and Jupiter. So now, because I've looked at a whole lot of flat earth stuff, and we're not going to talk about that too much. Look, but even the planets. So now I'm starting to think, this is just kind of my theory as I'm still learning this. I'm like, okay, the planets play a major part in this clock in the sky. Now I'm still not too certain that they are real planets. Like they talk about them being planets. They're simply bigger stars, or they're probably, don't quote me on it, because they could be planets. They really could be, but I'm not too sure on that. But I'm just thinking that they are simply bigger stars that are there, right? And they also, from what I understand, excuse me, they also, I don't think they move. I'm trying to think of an instance where I'm saying they're fixed. That's when I'm pausing to see, does any of them move, or have I seen something where they say they move? Hold on, Pootie. But I think they're all fixed. So it teaches you about that. So when you hear planets and stuff, then you have these different arguments going back and forth about the flat earth and different things like that. But if you actually just step back a little bit, right? Not saying that they're wrong or they have everything right, but there is some good information there from the, I don't like calling them the Flat Earth Society, because there are some people that spoof that whole section of people that believe that. But a lot of the stuff that they're saying is true. And then you have the ones that believe it's like a sphere, and then you have the ones that believe it's a globe. And you can find truth, a little bit of truth in all of them. You probably find more truth in, because of all the research I've done, you can find more truth in the Flat Earth Society than some of the other ones. But there are some good points in all of them. So instead of just arguing over it, you really need to just step back and see what's really going on, right? And what it's used for. So what I think at this point today, the different subjects we learn in school, even with learning about the solar system and stuff, and all that they teach you, these are real planets and all this. Okay, we'll go with that teaching for now, for the sake of conversation. But take in the information, keep what's good, put out what's bad, right? Look at where they said the locations of it is, and use it as you're learning about the clock in the sky and the position of everything, right? But it's a bigger understanding of everything, but just the different subjects is kind of breaking it up into sections so you can learn about one portion here and one portion here. Just kind of like when you learn math, right? You have to learn it in sections, and one skill builds upon another. I've come to see that this is the same way. Learning about this, okay, so first, okay, we know what a clock look like. Okay, now we know what a clock will look like. And if we put it in the sky, you ever heard the sun is at high noon? The sun is at high noon. That's when the sun has risen and is directly above. It's like all of these things that I've heard all my life. I'm like, oh shoot, Westerns, high noon. It means it's literally 12 o'clock. That like all of the stuff's like ding, ding, ding. It's starting to make sense. So all these little pieces that I've learned separately over the years, I'm now able to bring all these pieces together and put it together inside of the bigger puzzle. While you got the different sections. Remember we talked about the other day, you got those that do the addition, they off here and they battling with the subtraction, and then they battling with the division. You got multiplication over here. Everybody battling against one another, but we need all of you for this equation of algebra, because we have to use all of you, right? Everything is good and perfect in its own little section, right? But when it's time to see the bigger picture, y'all need to step out of y'all comfort zone and learn how to work with the other portions of math, so to speak, right? And it's the same thing with the skies and the constellations. All these things you take out what I want to say. As you get older, like when I was a child, I did childish things, but now I'm older, I put away those things. I learned like a child, acted like a child. And sometimes we're given stories. All the time we're given stories because that's what helps us remember, right? It's what helps bring it to life. And a lot of time we just look at the stories, and it's not until we're older where we can actually begin to see the principles behind the stories, the principles behind the Bible stories, right? Like, oh, shoot, now I can speak to you plainly about this. You had enough time. You're able to remember the sequence of things simply by the story I taught you or the song I taught you, Roy G. Biv. What is Roy G. Biv? It's the colors of the rainbow. If anybody would have asked me without teaching me Roy G. Biv, the colors of the rainbow in their proper order, I'd never be able to tell you that. But now I can tell you Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? Roy G. Biv. It's the first letter of every color in the proper order of the rainbow, right? So Bible stories, passing down songs and things like that, it's the same principle behind everything. Now that we're older, we take all these Bible stories and songs that we learn and pull the principles out of them and put them together so we can see the overall picture of what is going on here, right? Okay, so that's kind of summary from what we talked about yesterday when he's simply just talking about the moon and how we can't just use the moon. And so he's giving reasons why anybody who just uses the moon to calculate Sabbaths and weekdays are completely wrong. Okay, and we stopped at number 3. So let's read, no, I'm sorry, we stopped at number 4. So let's go to reason 5, and we'll have to make this quick. More. Actually, I think reason 5, no, we got 6. Okay, we'll just finish reading this and we'll stop at this section where it goes into Allah moon worshippers, because we had an hour and 6 minutes. Okay, reason 5. The manna was used to reteach the Israelites when the 7th day was, not when the new moon arrived. During the captivity of the Israelites in Egypt, it is possible that no one on earth had kept a record of days for the 7th week. Israel had succumbed to the pagan system and lost it also. They had to be retaught. This is why the 4th commandment begins with the word remember. It had been forgotten. The manna was provided for 6 consecutive days without fail. There was no interruption in this cycle mentioned, nor did the new moon come in any references that pertain to the manna. A double portion of manna coming before each new moon would surely have been a signal, and yet there is no record of this occurring. The new moons have no connection to the 7th day week. Reason number 6. The Yahudim, or the Israelites, have kept the heartbeat of the 7th day week since they were among the Israelites being retrained by man. Hold on, let me read that again. The Yahudim have kept the heartbeat of the 7-day week since they were among the Israelites being retrained by the manna cycle in the wilderness. There is no record or any hint that a change in this pattern ever occurred. These are among the elect of Yahuwah. They have preserved the words of Torah, prophets, and writings for us. They are also the direct recipients of the promises, Romans 9:4, and are the lineage of you. Hold on. Yeah, no, they're not the lineage of Yahusha, because he died. There's nothing else coming after him, right? He had no children. Nobody came from him, right? So that's wrong. I crossed that out. If I am going to trust any group to preserve this set-apart weekly cycle, I would lean heavily towards entrusting it to a group of Orthodox Jews than a group/denomination that may shift on the sand of human counsel. Ephraim is a scriptural term used for Gentile dispersed descendants of Joseph and the other lost tribes. A major problem with Ephraim is his arrogance. So the Orthodox Yahudim will tell you, you are exhausted. Bella, no more water. Thank you.
It's not okay.
Okay.
It's just a bit.
Thank you. You are exhausted by your many counsels Let the astrologers, the stargazers, and those who prognosticate by the new moon stand up and save you from what is coming upon you. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 13. We certainly are seeing many new winds of doctrine these days. There are even those who feel that the full moon is the new moon, which would mean that when the Israelites came out of Egypt, they had to travel in utter darkness. There is no end to the development of new winds of teaching. What is most important is what we listen to is what I'm sorry. What is most important is that we listen to the advice of Ephesians chapter 4 and not lose sight of our foundation. Many now realize that the Nicolaitans designed a crafty plot to control over civilization. From ancient cultures to the present, the authority over mankind has been a fusion or blend of religious and political purpose. One example is the obelisk described in the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verse 18.
No, I woke up
Often
first.
the rulers were worshipped as the principal deity by the people. Yes, you did too. She woke up first. Guys, please. Often the rulers were worshipped as the principal deity by the people, such as Pharaoh of Egypt or Kaiser of Rome. It had begun this way under Nimrod, but after he was slain, the paganism became occult or hidden, and it has here hidden in parentheses, and became shrouded in mystery. The true spiritual nature of what was being done was made to look innocent on the surface for the uninitiated. Look at so much mouth. After Yahusha, people who had his spirit in them spread out in Rome, in the Roman Empire. The old idolatry was being questioned and exposed and begun to falter. The pagan religious cults began to feel the effects of truth. Something had to be done to save the order and control those who had ruled. Something had to be done to save the order and control which those who ruled civilization had, and their religious paganism was failing. Along came Constantine, a compromiser who could find the middle ground. Keeping the previous pagan priesthood and their framework intact, he brought together the elders of the Nazarene from all over the Roman Empire to Nicaea in 325 CE, the first council of the Catholic Church. Upon hearing some of these matters being discussed, many elders fled for their lives. The elders who remained helped formulate what later became known as Catholicism, and they adopted the creed or constitution of the Roman Church, the Nicene Creed. This was to fight against what was called the Arian doctrine, thought to be a heresy at that time. Research Arianism. It has that in parentheses and say you should go research what that is. The pagan leaven would eventually leaven the whole lump. Paul, the former pagan Corinthian, Paul told the former pagan Corinthians to purge out the old leaven and be a new unleavened lump. And you can find that in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 6 through 13. Yahusha also described this at Luke 13:21. The former line of Kaisers were a family line, but Constantine was a break in that line, but he became the father of the empire, assuming both political and religious control. The former Caesar or Khazar took titles such as Pontifex Maximus and Pope, and in parentheses it has father, and ruled over a body of pagan priests called the Curia. In Latin it's called council. The members of this body were called cardinals, which we clearly know that they're still called that today, right? They dress in them the red robes. Sometimes they're in black, but they're called the cardinals. Matter of fact, recently, a couple years ago, maybe last year, they had their first black cardinal, right? And I'm like, this is getting worse and worse. The members of this body were called cardinals, from the Latin word cardo, meaning hinge. The idea that they were a hinge, in the parentheses, of a door, suggested that they, assisting the high priest of Janus, who was the door to the Elysian fields, the pagans' heaven. These pagan priests assisted the Kaiser, who was this pagan high priest of Janus. So the pagan title of Pope was retained by the man who held the office of Pontifex Maximus, in Latin, high priest. This title literally translates to bridge builder, a reference to this man being the bridge to the afterlife with the deities in the heavens. With this framework remaining in place, the central control of the pagan administration could go on, simply blending in with the elements of the messianic belief, but leaving out the elements essential to the obedience of Yahuwah. The pagan organization in place retained the office or title of the Pope, the body of priests called cardinals, and even the word curia for council. The Pope was no longer thought of as the high priest of Janus, but to literally be the authority of Christ on earth. The former pagan pattern was brought through perfectly intact. Idolatry mixed with truth became clothed in former framework of of sun worship. The main objective was to anger our Creator by mixing the patterns of idolatry together with truth so that it would become poison. And scripture calls poison wormwood, right? Darkness and light would mix together and be taught for centuries through a pagan framework of priests and a calendar based on idolatry. They didn't even have to put it in, they didn't even have to put in a change of address. Rome remained the office of the fourth beast of Daniel, which will remain until the time of wrath. And that is our reading for today. And this is where we will stop. We'll pick this back up here on the next page, on page 249 tomorrow. All right, y'all. That's it for today. I know we went just a little bit long because I was telling y'all so many stories and stuff. I'm sorry.
Mom.
Oh, I forgot to put what you call back here at the beginning of the month. Oh, it's kind of the same as this picture say. Yes.
Look.
Girl, quit yanking my
I
arm.
was digging for shells.
How about, okay, first of all, you lucky I removed that plant from that pot. Don't get that dirt on that floor.
I know.
Digging for shells. Who put shells in there?
No, these things. These things.
Oh, that comes in a potting mix. It's not shells, y'all. Okay. All right, y'all. It is Tuesday, July the 20th, 2021, day 211 of year 3, reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 880, 880. That is without the Sabbath days or the feast day Sabbath days added into the count. Why? Because we rest. Because it's the Sabbath day. Yahuwah told us to chill out, right? Today we read Jeremiah chapter 13, 14, and 15, and we read Fossilized Customs, page 247, all the way to page 248. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and do the blessing and get out of here today. You know what, Joy? I thought the app was on. She said the Night Sky app is just on for the iPhones. iPhones, you can put it on iPads too. I thought they had it on Android, but there is another, it's one close to it. I actually downloaded it yesterday. Come back to the post today. I gotta get it, and I'll put it in the comment section in a few minutes. Because I gotta look it up. I gotta open it and stuff and make sure it's the right one. But I believe that's for Android, and it's kind of close to the Night Sky. If I had to choose, I'm gonna go with Night Sky all day long. Like I haven't seen a better one, but like I said, the one that I saw yesterday is pretty new. It looks almost the same, so I'm gonna take it. But with the Night Sky, you can open it up like inside your house, and it'll look like you're outside, and you can just turn around and you can see all the constellations in their place and stuff. And it got the pictures. It even put like I think it's good to help you remember, especially if people already know what the zodiac is. Not saying you're getting off into astrology. People, stay with me. What I'm saying is you can use it for its strengths, where they place it in the sky, so you can always be able to pinpoint where the stars are at, right? So as you're learning how to go back to Yahuwah's calendar, you'll be able to tell where the stars are at, where they're positioned in relation to the sun and the moon throughout the day. And if it so happens that you remember the zodiac because you kind of grew up doing it, okay, don't throw everything out. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. You can still kind of use that superimpose it over the sky, and it'll help you remember different places with a Big Dipper, the Northern Star. All those things are at. It's really helpful, right? You don't necessarily have to, but I found, because I like pictures and stuff, and it's real cool, it helps me remember. It kind of indelibly imprints it on my mind. So when I look up, although I don't see like the ram and the Taurus bull and all that stuff in the sky, because I can picture, if it's during the day and it's high noon, I can picture where everything is, because I know what the clock looks like, longhand, shorthand, put it up against the sky like this, and it's easy. Even during the day, I can tell you it exactly what direction or what portion of the sky where it is. I'm able to tell what side of the earth I'm on. Like it's so cool. Okay, so I'll put that in there for you, Joy. So just give me a few minutes after I end the video, and I'll put it in the comment section. It won't be the live chat, because I think by the time I pull it up, it only give you maybe like 2 minutes to keep responding in the live chat after I end the video. So it's going to be in the actual comment section of the video. All right. So I put it there, look for it. And I'll make sure it has Android. If that one, I think that's for Android, but if it's not, I'll look through it and see the next best one. I kind of go through it before I post it. And we'll see, just kind of look at it. All right. Okay, y'all. So let's do the blessing. And anybody else that got Android too and may not have like an iPad or something, you can use it too. All right. But I think it's really cool. Like, even if you don't even care to figure out the time in the sky, or if you're fine, but it's just really good to know. It's really good research, and if you have children, I think it's a good teaching tool, especially when you get to that portion of your learning and teaching. Shucks, you can even look at it when y'all learning about the clouds and stuff, if you do that portion of science. Whatever. It's just a cool app. The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow. Man or woman can take it. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his son, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. Be on the lookout. I'll post it here in the comment section of Facebook too. So I'll put both of them, night sky, just in case you don't know. And the one compatible for Android, the best one, hopefully is close to night sky. All right, y'all. Love y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Watch outside so she can climb up here. She was coming to end the video. Come on, sis. Come on. You get up here. Come on. All right. All right, y'all. See you in the morning. Peace. Go ahead.
And guess what? Look over there.
Hold on. You got to end this one. All right. Remember.
Hello, Mommy.
Hit end stream. No, not. Girl, you got to use the mouse. That's not a touch screen. I'll be doing that too. Hit end. End. Wait, pause. Joy said, Hey, little ones. Everybody say hey to Joy.
Hi.
Wave hi to them. She said, Hey, little ones. Don't be trying to act all shy now. Okay. Hit end. Hit end. There you go.
Yeah.